Welcome to our next episode where we are discussing Ayesha Curry, ungrateful rich athlete's wife, or Shiro for speaking the quiet part out loud. Stay tuned as we discuss. Hello.
Hello.
I want to say welcome back because we haven't done this for a while. We're sort of
We took a little hiatus.
a little hiatus. So welcome back to all of our faithful subscribers and any new ones that are coming on board. We wanted to kind of start this off with a bang. I'm sure some of you, maybe not, depending on living under a rock or doing your own, happily living your life, doing your own thing. But not that long ago, I saw a post about it. I don't know how you saw
I
it,
got
but
tagged in the post.
right, I saw it on
You.
Mike's Facebook page, somebody that we both follow on Facebook, about a woman by the name of Ayesha Curry, who, for those who
And
don't know,
like tell people who don't know who that is.
yeah, for those who don't know, she is the wife of a fairly well-known, I think, basketball player named Steph Curry. I think he used to play for the Pistons. I don't know what state that is for, but and I don't know who he plays for now. But anyway, he is a fairly well-known basketball player. My child, who doesn't play basketball, even knows who he is. But anyway, she said something that was a little controversial, and I had to sit with it for a while, about how her life is not what she wanted it to be because she didn't want kids, and she's got kids, and she wasn't even sure she was going to get married, and she's married. And I had to sit with that one for a while because a lot of people got all up in their feels about this. There was a lot of people who were like, oh my God, she's so ungrateful. She's got such a great life. And, husband should divorce her next, and I sort of had to go and watch the whole interview because let's be honest, social media being what social media is, I had to wonder if something was being taken out of context.
Right. And he plays for the Golden State Warriors, California.
There we go. Okay, gold. Okay, there we go.
go.
Okay, so I think he used to play for the Pistons, then obviously, whoever they are, and yes, Golden State Warriors. Okay, so turns out that were kind of high school / college sweethearts, and she, I believe, was going to school for like design or something. Anyway, the nuts and bolts of it is they got married at 22.
Very young.
It was a long distance relationship for quite some time because she was wherever. Actually, she's Canadian, believe it or not. She's from
Okay.
Toronto. And when she was younger, I think it was like 11 or 12 or something, her parents moved down to one of the southern states. I can't remember. It might have been Louisiana or something, but I don't remember. Anyway, she went to school with Steph. And their families kind of became friends. They did church together and all of that stuff. And anyway, she went to school to do one thing, and then he, I think, went back east or something, or west, or, I don't know, to do this basketball thing, right? And she kind of encouraged him to do it. And so anyway, they had a long distance relationship for a while. She went to visit him. He proposed. They got married at 22. Within, I'm going to say, 3 to 6 months, she ended up pregnant, which, let's be honest, that sort of throws a spanner in like the whole life plan that you might have, right?
On
And
top
not
of
to
coming
mention,
off a long distance relationship, which
and
is the
being
whole
so
thing.
young, right? Like, and I think they're in their 30s now. So like we're talking, the late 90s,
Yeah.
early 2000s here, and well, probably early 2000s, I guess. Yeah, because of course we're 2025. Like in that day and age, that's young to get married, right?
Very, very.
So my piece that I took away from it was that she never said she wasn't happy with her life. It's just on the path that she was on, she had envisioned something different,
Different for herself. Yeah.
right? Like she was going to be a businesswoman and she was going to do all these things. And then, and I think the other piece too was I don't think she realized just how good Steph was at basketball. And so that sort of, you know, changed the trajectory of things, right? So the questions that I kind of came up with as I was listening to this, based on the work that we're doing with the mindset for women and the style for women and breaking down some of these rules and things that, sort of have been foisted on us by the so-called powers that be, is Why is it or was it so wrong for her to envision a different life for herself, right? And why can't she wish for that life or think about that life every once in a while and still be happy?
Right. Not this or that, but like we were saying, this and that.
Yeah, like
Two
I mean,
things are true at the same time.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
because hmm, I can't imagine that not a single person, I'm going to include men in this as well.
Right.
Not a single person goes a day without thinking that their life could have been different if,
If, yeah, what
right?
if?
Like if I had made a different decision, if I moved somewhere differently, if I had married this person over that like
Hindsight, like we always say, hindsight is
yeah.
2020. We can all look back and see probably dozens of moments, big and small, that we wished we had made a different choice, maybe, or what could have been if we did make a different choice.
Yeah. Well, and I think really the biggest difference between, and obviously speaking from some ignorance here, the difference between men and women when it comes to these things is men probably make it from a how does this benefit me
Yes.
standpoint, right? Like
Yes.
if I do X, what am I going to get out of
It's
it? Or
usually
if I
what's in
do
it for them,
Y,
right? How is
right?
it going to impact them?
Right. Whereas women, now I am speaking from experience here, we make it from a how is it going to impact them? Or if I do X, will they still like me?
Right.
If I do Y,
Right.
will they still be happy with me? Or I don't know. Enter in whatever sort of
Yeah,
scenario in your
absolutely.
head on that one. But I feel like when we make a lot of decisions, there's a lot more that has to go into it in terms of either who you're with, your family, right? Like we've got 1,001 scenarios running through our head when we make these decisions. And she made that decision that she was going to be this business person and she was going to have this great career and do all these things and she was going to maybe put off motherhood for a while. Not once did
Maybe.
I ever say
Yeah.
she didn't want to be a mother.
Right.
She just wasn't planning on having kids.
She had
And
something she wanted to do first. Yeah.
yeah, and maybe she would have changed her mind down the road. Again, hindsight, you never know what that decision would have been. But at the time, she made the decision
Right.
to marry
And
Steph.
that his basketball takes off, and then everything has to be all about that because the traveling that's involved and the relocation that's involved is like
Yeah.
literally the optics. That's a whole
Well,
public
you get
relations thing.
traded and yeah, whatever else, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I do think that her comment was taken way out of context.
Right.
But even if it was real, like let's just
Let's
posit
just
that
assume
for a
she meant
moment, right?
exactly what it was reported. Yeah, as it was
What
reported.
if they recorded, like, what if the context that people are taking it as really was, I didn't want kids,
And she ended up with kids.
and she ended up with kids?
Yeah, for one
But,
reason or another. Yeah, for whatever reason. You
but you know
know,
what else I think it is? One, how dare a woman not want kids,
that
right? And two, she's saying the quiet part out loud,
she is.
right? I mean, how many of us have probably thought, wow, I wish I did that differently. I
Oh,
wonder what my life would be
absolutely.
like if I had done X over Y.
Right.
But we never talk about it, right?
No.
Like,
Well, they make us feel bad because one, you're not grateful for what you have. You've got this fabulous life, you've got all this money, you've got this fame, even if it's secondhand fame. You probably live in a beautiful home, you've got children, da da da. You have everything a woman is supposed to want to be 100% happy. You're
and be grateful for.
and be grateful for it. And nobody said she wasn't. But the way it's reported is like, well, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
There are women who would die to change places with you. So,
And I actually should have made comment of some of like made note of some of the comments. But really, I mean, at the end of the day, that is basically what they were saying was,
yeah,
how dare you? Um, husband says next, right? Like basically saying that just because she said this now they shouldn't get a divorce.
right.
Oh, and then I read some other
Even though it
comments.
sounded like he was aware of how she's feeling, like she sounds like she's somebody who
Yes.
openly communicates. So this didn't catch him off guard.
No, I don't think it did. But then there was some other comment about like some other headline that I saw shortly after that actually. And I can't remember if it was before or after I saw the interview where he was saying he's happy with having a family or whatever. And, so basically what they're saying is like women are never happy
Right.
and
We
men are
never,
happy
yeah.
with this,
You
not the
can never
simple
make
life,
women
but
happy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just that really irritated me, which is
But
why I
aren't they
feel
coming
like
at that? The people saying that you can't make women happy, are they who defined what makes all women happy?
right, cookie cutter, one size
Yes,
fits
yeah,
all.
we're all the little Stepford wives running around looking like the exact, yeah, it's like we're going down the assembly line and they're cutting us out. You get to want
Yeah.
this, this, and this, and that makes a whole and complete woman. Make sure she should definitely be happy, you
Well, and
know?
it kind of feels like that I want a lady in the streets but a freak in the sheets. And it's like,
Yes.
well, huh?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
yeah, I was really irritated by that whole and I mean I will be honest, at first my gut reaction was, bitch, I wish I had your life. You know what I mean? Like I
Well,
don't know
yeah,
what her
yeah,
life
we
is like.
look
It
at
might be
the
miserable, but first gut instinct was, well, that's kind of a shitty thing to say. But then
yeah,
upon reflection, it's like, why do I think that? Because I don't know her. And honestly, I don't think you could pay me
no.
to be
To have your
a,
life under a microscope, no, thank
well,
you.
yeah, sports celebrity wife.
And, whether this is true or not, certain athletes have certain type, as a whole, have reputations. The women, like we're saying, throwing themselves at them. That's a whole thing to have to deal with every day of your life. And there's
And
no
you have to
escape
be,
from it.
and you have to be really secure in yourself
Yeah.
and really secure in your
Yeah.
marriage, which I think would be a whole other level of
Well,
like,
true.
we
And,
should bow down to her.
yeah, and if the roles were reversed, if she was the famous person, she would be expected to make sure he didn't feel insecure. She would
Yes.
be expected to alter her behavior, no matter how famous she is, to make sure he doesn't feel like that. But
Like
when
he's the
she
insecure.
feels
Yeah.
like that, that's just on her.
Yeah.
Where is
Yeah. The
his
doubles.
responsibility in telling these women to back off? Whether he does or doesn't, I don't know. I'm just saying, generally speaking, it's expected to come with a territory of athletes that,
But it's
of
not
course,
expected
women
to
are just going
come
to do
with
that. Yeah.
when women are, yeah, when the roles are reversed. Yeah, we could do a whole other video on double
Yes.
standards
It's like
because
a bottomless pit.
it's mind-boggling. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, honestly, I had to sort of sit with it. I mean, it's been a week or so since I saw it because I had this kind of gut immediate reaction of, well, that's a weird thing to say, and why would she say that? And what a bitch. And reading some of the comments, I was starting to feel a little swayed by them. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't know her.
Yeah.
And like I said, social media being what it is, what do you want to bet it was taken out of context?
Yes.
You know? Because honestly, and I mean, I'll tell you, like, I have two stories where I can think of I changed something for a man. One was fairly impactful. Well, actually, two, both of them were, but in very, very different ways. And there are times where I wonder what my life would be like if I hadn't made either choice,
Yeah.
you know? One is having my child at such a late age. Like I'd hit 35 and I was like, I guess kids just aren't in the cards for me. And I was totally fine with that. All of my
Right.
friends
Right.
had kids. I could be the favorite aunt, take them out, do stuff, hand them back. Here you go. See you later. I get, nice, quiet house. At 41, I have a child. Not
Yes.
exactly the path that I had for myself, but it happened. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I would take a bullet for him. He
Right.
is
Of
my
course.
whole world.
And isn't it funny
Um,
that you're having to say this, not because it should have to be said, but
right.
you feel like you have to give that disclaimer that of course I love my child.
Well, it's almost
And
like you say that you didn't plan on having a kid and then you have
yeah.
one and then it's all of a sudden like, well, do you hate your child because you didn't plan on having them?
Yes.
Well, no.
Maybe I didn't, if I had known, would I have gotten married at 22? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But I did. Okay, and I'm happily married, but yeah, sometimes I do wonder, what if I hadn't got married at 22?
Yeah. And what would be happening now at 52 if I hadn't had my child? Like there's all these things and I feel like it's almost like we're not allowed to question the stuff that
No, we're just
is
supposed to be happy.
expected of
Yeah.
us.
If we've met the criteria, family, husband or partner, child, you got money in the bank, that's all you're supposed to want.
Heaven forbid we actually dream of
Yeah, or have,
more.
interest of things that just interest you
Yeah.
outside of that. And that's like, this is one thing I can speak to is like, I was married for a long time and my whole world centered around dad and the family. Literally within months of me stepping out of that, and I found my kids were taking music lessons, and I started volunteering at the music school. And all hell broke loose in my relationship. It was literally the beginning of the end. And I am
Oh, wow.
literally not kidding. He decided I was having an affair with the owner
Oh
who
my
was
goodness.
married. Okay. And I did volunteer, but I didn't really interact with him that much. I was up there doing stuff with kids. I mean, the place was full of children.
Well, and that's kind of the whole point of volunteering
And
too,
yeah,
right? Is
and
that you
also
go
I
and
have three
you
children of my own. Where did you think I was going to fit this in into their 45-minute music lesson? But literally, he got so angry that my attention was not focused on him
and the family,
and
really. I mean,
every
the
and
family
his
unit.
interests and things he wanted to do. And the fact that I was taking time away from him to go do something that, like when they would have like a recital type thing, I would go and volunteer and I would take ticket money. That's literally what I was doing. But it made him so angry that
Isn't that interesting though?
yeah,
Because you weren't really taking time away from the family. You
no,
were just taking time away from him. Like you were trying to be an involved parent
yes,
and taking an interest in what your
yes.
kids are
Yeah,
doing.
they were always there. I was never, it was a rarity if I was ever at that school and one of the three were not there.
Interesting. Although,
Yeah,
you know what? That actually brought up something that I've kind of forgotten about with my ex, with my son's father. Um, he has visitation every Sunday. He doesn't exercise it in part because Quinn doesn't want him to.
right,
But when Quinn was much younger, I'm very much a firm believer in you need to play at least one sport. And, so I had him enrolled in a whole bunch of different things so that he could then start to figure out what he enjoyed doing.
right.
And this was T-ball. So he would have been like maybe 5 or 6. And baseball's a sport I love. So I coached it. The problem was it was on Sundays.
Mm.
And at first, his dad didn't like it, but then he accepted that it was on Sundays. But what he really took exception to was that I was there during his time.
Ah, even though you're coaching a whole group of children. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we had a couple of arguments about that.
Yeah, it's just really interesting. And like my old middle child, oldest son was in a band and they were actually touring with another band.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, and so we went to different cities and he wouldn't go on the travel things. And when he
Oh,
did, and I'm like, this is after, and then like, so this went on for several years, and then we separated, and we were still all going to the events, but if he either wouldn't go at all to the travel events, or when he did, and I'm not kidding you, and I could bring somebody to witness this, he literally would not even look at me the whole time. He
oh,
was still
wow.
so angry that I was doing this, even though literally we're dragging musical instruments, amps and
It's not
guitars and blah.
fun.
It's like we're doing all this stuff and it's for the kids. There's no really one-on-one adulting anywhere other than the fact that he would be there and he would literally, if he had to walk towards me, he would look over my head so he wouldn't have to look at me. And everybody could see what was happening. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I got
Yeah.
nothing.
Have to admit, that's me in our
Yeah.
relationship. Now I did leave when Quinn was 6 months, 5 or 6 months old,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm the one that has sort of pulled that. But yeah, I just find it very interesting how yeah, how they sort of twist what you're
They
doing, right?
do.
Like I was doing it because A, I liked baseball, and B, Quinn was interested.
Yeah.
So, like and even now when he's getting in, it's not elite, but when he's getting up into a more serious level of
Right.
soccer, coaches are hard to come by.
They are.
Like
They
parents
really
do
are.
not want to coach. They basically want to drop their kids
Well,
off
it
and
gets
not
a
even
lot
think about it.
harder because it gets more competitive as you move up the chain. Yeah.
But even when he was younger, it was really hard. So I loved baseballs and I liked the park and the atmosphere. And so I was like, sure, I'll coach, no big, right? And it's not like I had to interact with him because he's sitting on the sidelines. I'm, on the in the dugout or whatever and coaching 9 or 10 other kids because it's T-ball. Everybody's on the field at once. It's not a
Right.
proper like 3-strike rule or anything. And yeah, it just kind of blew me away that he would be so fussy about it when it's just me engaging with my kid, and
Yeah.
he asked me to be there,
Right.
you know? So it's like it's this whole, I mean, maybe gotten a little off topic there, but it's just this whole idea that we have to do things a certain way or
Right.
say things a certain way,
Right. Or, and
you know?
yeah. And how your life can go off the path you wanted it to be on. Everybody has an idea of what they want, and they hit their early 20s, especially when we're all rosy-eyed about
Yeah.
everything. You definitely have
Life is so
ideas
wonderful. Yeah.
about what you think your life is supposed to look like. And it turns
Yeah.
out his dreams came true, hers changed. Hers had to change, whereas his didn't have to
Yeah.
change. He got his dream. He's a professional
Yeah,
basketball
see, and I
player.
think what's interesting too is I think now she is like she does have a she does have a business. I think it's centered around food, to be honest. I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly what it was, but yeah, so hers just got put on the back burner for a
Right.
while.
And but
But
that's a
it's
long time. 10,
yeah, I
15
would
years.
say
I mean,
10
you have to
years.
think. It's like,
Yeah.
again, it's not that she didn't want the family, that she didn't want to, she doesn't mind supporting her husband. Of course, she's very happy for him, but to have to wait 15 or in some cases 20, 25, 30 years to get your chance,
Yeah.
it kind of hurts a little bit. It's disappointing. And it's time we get to acknowledge that we were disappointed, that
Yeah,
maybe
and
we're discouraged at having to wait so long when the quote unquote best years of our life have passed us by societal standards.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's got to be. It's the patriarchy that's saying
Yeah,
that,
that's
man. Because
like
I
that's
feel
what it's
like
like.
now is my
So
best time.
you'd think they would be able to figure that out, at least understand it from that whacked out point of view, if they can't understand it any other way. But to say you have to, if you told a man he had to put all of his dreams on hold for 25 years till the kids were older, he would probably blow a gasket.
Well, or things would, or the way things are viewed would change a whole lot quicker than they do
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah,
And so I think from this conversation, the conversation that I would like to continue with women in some fashion, hopefully in our comments, because I don't think we've said this yet, but please subscribe. Um, I want women to start being honest with themselves about this kind of stuff
right,
because it was more women from what I can remember, because it was over a week ago that I saw that
right.
post, but there were a lot of women that were slagging her, right? I mean, yes, there were men in the comments, but
Yeah.
it
Well,
was
no, but that's it.
definitely
We
more
say
women.
that we are our own worst enemy
We are.
collectively. We are so cruel to each other. And it's all because we know that there's a part of it that resonates. They say the thing you hate in someone else is
Is
because
the
there's an element of that in you. And women
mm-hmm.
are so conditioned to bury it.
Yes.
In what I think it's called internalized misogyny at this point. It's like you've just internalized what you've been told so much that you actually believe that that was the only right way to live your life and say, no, you could
Yes.
have had 1,000 different paths your life could have gone down.
Oh, there's so many. There's
And you could
always
have
an
been
A,
happy
B,
on
C, or
all of
D.
them. Any
Yeah.
one of them could have made you wildly happy.
Yeah.
There's not just one way to do that. But yeah, we need to be honest and say, yeah, things didn't really work out like I originally planned.
Well, or
And I
even,
love my life today.
yeah. Yeah, and I think it really just boils down to why did what she said bother you so much? And I'm going to use the you collectively
Yeah,
because there could be
collectively.
some
Yeah.
women who are listening
It's
to
like,
this
yeah,
and
if
going,
you
I have
disagreed with
no idea
her,
what she's talking about. But,
yeah,
just collectively, why would something like that bother you so much? Right? Because really, she's saying the quiet part out
yes,
loud.
yeah. So she's
Um,
voicing her opinion, her feelings. Why does her feeling like that trigger something? And I don't even like to use that word trigger, but activate something in you that makes your response is anger towards her.
well,
You
yeah, because
know?
some of the responses felt very visceral. And I have
Yeah.
to admit,
Like
I
you
had a
could
bit of a
feel
visceral
it.
reaction
Yeah.
as well, right? But I've been in this coaching world so long that I kind of know now to sit with it before I really say anything,
Right.
which is probably why I tagged you in it first.
Yeah.
Um, but like as we said earlier, as you said earlier, right? Like there is this either or type of mentality that we have now, or
Right.
that we've been sold, right?
Yeah.
You're either happy or you're sad. You're either happy or you're angry. You're grateful or you're ungrateful. You know, I think we need to start as women collectively
Yes.
realizing that there is a this and
And that.
that to everything as opposed
Yes.
to this or obviously there's going to be a this or that from time to time.
Right.
But
Right.
when it comes to our lives, when it comes to the choices that we've made, whether it's how we dress, how we talk, the things that we do with our kids, the houses that we have, the places we travel, whatever it is, the job that we've got, it doesn't have to be this or that.
Right.
It should be this and that.
Right.
I can have kids and sometimes I can wish for something different, like that I didn't have kids because I miss my old life, and that's okay.
Right.
You know, I don't like my job, and I like the lifestyle that it provides me. Not, or do you two mind? Sorry, my cats are
That's okay.
wrestling and they bumped my ring light. um, and I think that's what we need to do is we need to sort of take a step back. Not to mention the fact that social media has made everything so like
Oh, yes.
personal,
Yes.
like
It's
we are
really,
in everybody's lives and
yes.
we get a say, and these keyboard warriors do all these things. And I think we need to sort of take a step back and and reflect, why is this bothering me so much? Why do I feel a reaction to this?
Yes.
Is it because she's saying the quiet part out loud? Is it because I wish I didn't have kids? Is it because I wish I had kids and she's so lucky that she's got them?
Yeah,
Why didn't she
and do you
want them?
believe
And
there's only one right? And be honest, do you believe as a woman, if you have a partner, children, and money, you should be happy? And that's
not
all
even
you need.
should, you will be. Do you believe that you
Yes.
will be
Yeah, it's like
happy with
what
all of those
question your
things?
beliefs. It's like, what do you believe about women as a whole? It's like, should they be expected to be happy if they have those three things, more or less?
Or can you be happy with what you have now, regardless of the things that you think you are lacking? Because
Right.
are we really lacking anything in this day and age? Probably not.
Probably not.
You
Yeah.
know? So yeah, I think it's really just it would be nice to have a conversation with women about being honest with themselves and, is there something that you wish you had done, right? Like and wishing that you had done it is okay, but you need to make peace with it. You can't live there, right?
Right.
You know,
You have to look back on it and see it for what it was, but not let it stop you from moving forward.
yeah.
You can't get frozen in time.
And we can't get mad at other people when they say silly things. And it's not even silly because it's true for her. To me, it might
Right.
seem silly, but just because somebody says something silly like, well, I never planned on getting married and never planned on having kids, but they're married and they have kids,
Yeah.
like it's okay to say that because that was the way that they wanted their
Yeah.
life to go. I don't see
Doesn't take
how
anything
it,
away from the life you're living now to say, yeah, kind of think about what would have been.
and I don't think it takes, and I don't think it's the sort of thing that whether it's a celebrity that's talking about it and we're the everyday person looking in, or just you and me talking about stuff, I think we need to stop taking stuff so personally.
Personally, like it has anything to do with us.
Yeah.
What that woman decides or any other woman has absolutely nothing to do with you or me. Yeah, it's like you got to go look in the mirror and figure out what is a, I used to heard this thing that said there's three kinds of business: your business, their business, and God's business. You need to figure out which one of
I
those three
love that.
categories this
Yeah.
stuff belongs in, because you may find out that's her business. And if it's not your business or her business, then that makes it God's business. Stay out of that
Yeah.
too.
Totally. Yeah. No, and I think that's the problem too, right? I mean, well, I can say back in the old days when there was no technology, right? I mean,
Yeah.
half the time we didn't know what anybody was
Well,
doing unless
and
they
you think of
told
how much more
you.
peaceful and fun life was when we didn't know.
I know. I
Not
know.
only did you get away with a lot more, that was a lot more fun because nobody will ever, ever find out because they can't prove it.
I know.
But yeah, you just didn't have the 24/7 stress levels. Like there is no turning off the telephone. It's
Yeah.
like the ambitious notifications. If you don't manually turn that off, it will literally drive you insane.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder we're all so, walking a hairline of being activated into some battle with someone that we don't even know.
Yeah.
And whether that's Ayesha Curry or the troll on the internet that says you're
Yeah.
ugly. You know, it's like, why do I care what you think? I don't know you. And even if I did, I probably still
Well,
wouldn't care. But,
or even today, right? I mean, like I've been doing this strike now for we entered week 7,
and
and
we're talking about, she's in Canada, Tracy's
I'm
in
in Canada.
Canada.
Yeah, we've got our 2 points of view here in Canada, and I think by about week 3 or 4, our picket captains were saying, if anybody crosses the picket line, we need to boo them and yell shame, shame, right? And it's just like, what does that accomplish? Because
Exactly.
we don't know why they're crossing the
Why?
picket line. Now most people that would cross are not in a union, so it's not like they're doing anything illegal, right?
But they've
And
been judged as a person for
yeah, and
crossing the line. Yeah.
you don't know if what they do today is the difference between food or no food on the table, given the way the economy is right
Right.
now. You don't know if their boss told them that upon pain of death, they'll be fired if they don't
Yeah.
cross,
Or
right? Like,
what if a kid is sick and if they don't do it and they lose their health insurance for some reason, if they turn and fire everybody that's picketing, which some companies in America do that, then your kid who's got cancer can't get treatment anymore.
well, in Canada, they still can. It's just
Here,
a
yeah, they
question
can
of
fire,
whether or
sometimes they can
not,
fire you and then
yeah.
you're out of luck.
Oh, yeah, no, see, so we would still get to go and we would have no bill slash a minimal bill, right? Because
Yeah.
what our health insurance does is it just covers the cost of some of our meds. But going to the hospital still doesn't cost anything. Going and getting the cancer treatments doesn't cost
So
anything.
that's a whole other
Yeah,
topic.
that's a whole other thing. But no, I mean, point
Lord have
made,
mercy.
right? Is that you don't
You don't know
know
why
what
somebody's
someone
doing
else
what
is
they're
going
doing.
through,
Yeah.
right?
And you know
And
what?
that's the
Another
thing.
thing is like when it comes to the whys, it's like, and that's a whole other subject for another day, but everybody assumes everybody's got a little bit of money in the bank. Some
Right.
people do not have money
No,
to eat. They cannot
no,
put food on their table for their families. And we have this, we don't know what broke really is half the time. It's like, but there are people
no.
that are, a lot of people.
Well, and take that then down to its logical conclusion of she has more than enough being
Yes.
who her husband is, right? And so then there's probably that level of jealousy of how dare she
Yes, of
say
course it
something
is
like
envy.
that
Absolutely.
because,
Yeah. Because
and
yes,
then
we
fill
would
in the
trade
blank,
bank
right?
accounts with her all day long and say, you know, I could totally tolerate, most women are like, I could tolerate that man cheating on me if I had that bank account. And a lot of women do that too.
Yeah.
Lots of women do that. They marry bank accounts instead of for love.
Yeah.
And there's
She
nothing
did
wrong with that
both.
either. If that's where your
No.
focus is, that's okay too, because men
Yeah.
marry to have a trophy wife, it's the same thing in reverse.
Well, and I'll end this in a bit with a
Yes.
question that I kind of want for everybody out there in YouTube world. But I think the other piece that, and again, this might be a conversation for another day as well. I think what we need to have happen, and this is our small little piece of the pie that we are trying to do, is we want women to be okay with the decisions that they make and
Yes.
stop nitpicking and fighting amongst ourselves over the
Ourselves.
decisions that
Good
other
Lord,
women
stop fighting amongst
make,
ourselves. Absolutely.
because we don't know their story. Nor do
No.
I need to know their story,
No.
right? I mean, everybody's got their own thing going
Yes.
on. And I just feel like whether now celebrities, that's a whole other lifestyle, and they probably sign on to it to a degree. But again, back when there was no social media, you didn't really give a crap what your, celebrity did. You just
No.
belonged to a fan club and you
Yeah,
would
you
write
see
back
the
and forth
National
and get things,
Enquirer
and
or whatever, but
yeah.
you didn't take it
Um,
seriously anyway.
but I just feel like we need to sort of take a step back as women, and we need to think, why is this bothering me so much? Why am I invested in X, Y, or Z?
Right.
And stop nitpicking
Stop
what
nitpicking
other
and be honest with
women
yourself.
do.
Say, what about my previous choices? Maybe would I, if I wasn't afraid people would attack me, reject me, judge me, what would I say about the path not taken? Because everybody, once you
Yeah.
reach midlife, you have at least one path you didn't take for whatever reason.
And we just need to be honest with ourselves
Yeah.
about that
And say it's
and
okay. It's okay.
be
Take it out of the
okay with it.
shadows. It's
Yeah.
okay. There's nothing wrong with saying, I have wondered what my life would have looked like if I hadn't, settled down and had a child. It's just a,
I wonder what my life would have been like if I had traveled when I had planned. I had everything all planned out.
yeah.
I was going to buy an around the world ticket, and I was going to hit X, Y, and Z over the course of a year. And the guy I was dating, who was my first very serious relationship, said, well, don't expect me to wait for you.
Yeah. Oh, now I want you to stop you right there because I'm going to stop this because we're at 33 minutes. We're going to make this part one, and then we're going to keep going with part two. I'm just going to cut it into two different
Yeah.
videos.
Okay. I like it.